I like it when you pull up to a place with a bunch of stuff in the yard and looks like every other place with stuff in the yard until you take a peek in and discover that somebody's an artist. Not just an artist, but an amazing artist. So I'm at Tammy's place on the coast in Oregon. Tammy builds these beautiful things out of cob, like this rocket heater. But then she goes and finishes them and decorates them. Like this straw bale wall is got these amazing turtles sculpted and painted on them in lime. Look at that. This is a beautiful turtle. Another turtle. Baby turtles. Turtles for everybody. Yeah. There's a magic place here. Kind of just like everybody else, and then boom. Magic turtles. More to come. Yeah, look at that. She's working on this mermaid. Nice functional front porch with everybody's mugs. While you're here, you get a special mug. She teaches workshops, teaching people how to make cool stuff like that. This is beautiful outdoor kitchen here on the coast. It's always between about 50 and 70 degrees. So they can have outdoor kitchens like this. Not like where I live where everything freezes. Kind of have even bigger outdoor kitchen that they're working on. Sculpting it out of cob. Little sitting space. Actually a pretty big sitting space. Oh, this is new. I love how they put that carpet up there on the roof. And then the local, here, I'll show you over here. The local, plants seem to love that carpet and just grow into it. Little firewood spot outside this lovely little room. Biggest problem here is wind. There's a lot of wind. So having a spot to sit where it's not windy, where you can get a little sun. It's great because there's not much sun here. But this is a very cozy spot. So you're still outside. With all this sculpty stuff. Nice fireplace. She does this thing with painting the walls with these little bits of gravel. I think there's seashells in there too. I think this is one she's working on right now. Little doors and windows and sitting spaces. Looks like they got a big thing they're building here. I'll have to ask her what this is gonna be. Oh, there's Tammy. Tammy, what's this gonna be?
That's the boat shed.
The boat shed. You mean it's not gonna be on the front yard anymore?
It was a dual-purpose building. In the winter, it is boat shed. In summer, it is people space.
People space.
So Malia's gonna turn that into like a garden sanctuary.
Nice.
Have a clear story on the side.
So when it starts to become winter, he'll be able to say, "Get out of here, people. This is my boat shed." All right, that's a good bargain.
That's what I thought. We didn't need another building. So.
No.
But we did some funky timber framing because none of us knew how to do it.
What are these cool things that grow here?
I just find those are all the little hens and chicks.
Hens and chicks. I've never seen them that color before, but they're so beautiful.
This is our only monolithic adobe wall. And you'll see major cracking
Yeah.
because when you put the hug panel in and cob sinks and hug panels don't, that's what happens.
Yep.
I am not a fan.
Well, you named it wrong because that building over there is the Kraken, but this one's cracking. Yeah. So that one is supposedly to code, and it's all cracking up, huh?
Yeah. And we did
Oh,
not.
how frustrating.
Yeah, it's hard to build. Like, yeah, it's not fun.
Whereas this one is thoroughly legal and not going anywhere.
Pretty well.
Pretty wall. Nothing cracking up about that. That's beautiful.
Big structure.
Yeah. I'd be curious to see about the slumping, if it's like crumbled or if it's just like superficial cracks.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, that one on the other side is a pretty serious crack.
It is a serious crack.
I don't think it's structural because
Oh.
the wall isn't structural.
Yeah.
The top isn't structural. It's the hog panel tied to the foundation, and if you put the concrete cap on top like you're supposed to, then. But,
Yeah. That's some pretty thick hog panel too.
Yeah.
But that part right there, you see that? That's legal. So, and it makes it a pain in the butt to build, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Trying to cob through that.
It's not fun.
Makes it legal and also makes it kind of crack up a bit while it's settling.
So my question is how, if code is written that way, how are they going to guarantee that people aren't going to get structural failure cracks? And is it, do they have a sandier mix? Do they have more straw in it? I don't know. This is a, fairly short wall if you had a 2-story house doing that.
Yeah.
And this is a very lumpy wall. We built it because it was so hard to build.
Yep.
We just threw it up. But yeah.
We'll have to bring that up with Daniel when we're in Indiana, huh? Because there's a guy who's building drones to cob with. And that hog panel that's required in seismic zones is being a pain in his tuchus because the plan was the drones pick the stuff up and they drop it. They pick the stuff up and they drop it, and they also have little finger things to cob. So they're doing the cob with the cob. It's not some additive to make it so you can spray it through a nozzle. It's actually cobbing, but the boring bit is done by the enormous drone. But they have to fly around this stupid piece of hog panel now.
How is the drone? The drone's not gonna be able to do it because to cob around this hog panel, you got to cob through it. Weaving that cob in between there was super hard. We had to do it with gloves on.
Oh yeah.
And it was super super hard to do. It was not fun. That's why the wall's all wonky too. So
we got to check in with our people at Quail Springs who were doing the tests on it, see if they came up with anything that was easier to work with that.
So obviously you have 2 options with monolithic adobe. One is the hug panel, the other is the rebar
Yeah.
version, so I would never do the hug panel again. Rebar version works in theory, but we all know rebar's not supposed to go in straw bale, and why do they think it's going to perform any differently in cob? I think it would perform worse in cob. Just my 2 cents. So the only saving grace there is this is not a cob wall. This is a monolithic adobe wall.
Monolithic adobe. Whereas this over here is cob. And that over there is cob. And that over there is cob. And look, and that's Rodney. No, that's not a... He's a lump, but he's one of my favorite lumps. Yeah.
Yeah. So every time I see someone talking about cob code online, Facebook, wherever, I correct them. I say, please do not call that cob. It is monolithic adobe. Let's keep them separate. And the reason for that is so us people building cob, traditional cob in the traditional sense,
Cob.
don't have to
Monolithic
hold to
adobe.
that standard.
Cob.
So if
Monolithic
we keep that
adobe.
separate, then I think people.
You gotta keep them separated. Well, I was just sitting in there loving that again. I love that building. It's such a lovely space to sit when it's windy out and have the fire. And I'm outside, but I'm not outside.
My favorite when it's finished is probably going to be the surf shack, though.
Yeah, how's that coming? What's going on with it?
Just waiting for plasters.
Waiting for the party to happen.
Pardon?
It's a storage locker. I was crying.
Yeah, well, she's storing that VW in there, right?
She got all
That's the
kinds of
bed.
other stuff.
Yeah,
That's the bed.
yeah.
And the lighthouse. So it's a toss-up when they're finished, whether it'll be the lighthouse or the surf shack.
Well, you're allowed to enjoy them.
It really does.
Each one of my kids is my favorite, so you're allowed to enjoy them.
Enjoy them all.
Enjoy them all.
True. This will be Bob's favorite.
Yeah, yeah. Where's Bob? Is in the boathouse.
In the boathouse, sitting in his boat.
Is it supposed to be the boat garage then when it's done? Or?
But only in the winter.
Literally, they're flavorless at this point.
For a while, this was the outdoor kitchen. This is a fun little building. These are like arches from a scrapped Quonset hut building like that. They took the arches and they made a building that's kind of an ocean wave with fishes in it. I like the feeling of that wave kind of thing over there. This is the lighthouse. Cool thing you can do with this lime is paint with it. I love this. You can just cob right in, stick a stained glass panel in there, and then cob it into place. Oh, look at that whitewash. This blue wash, like the sky. So this is cob with lime over it. Kind of make it look like a castle turret inside of here. I love Tammy's paintings. There's a little upstairs going on there in the lighthouse. That's straw clay up there, like we've done on some of our buildings. See, I think this is a lovely, lovely way to incorporate door frames if you're going to do it later. Is to put these dead men in there. They just cob these poles in a foot or more back in so that everything's solid and you can screw the door frame to it. So there's a whole door frame, whole wooden door frame. She makes these beautiful buildings, but I have to say, one of my favorite things about this place is the little rooms in the woods. I'll get to that in a minute. It's easy to live outdoors in a place like this where it's always not quite cold. I like how they incorporate the tree into this building. Such a lovely door frame with those trees making an arch around it. But it feels like the beautiful plants on the roof. Feels like that building is just coming right out of that tree. I'll have to dig up some pictures of the inside of it because it's such a lovely building. The orchard here. This works really nicely. It gets chilly here, but we do have sunny days here. So the shower right there is heated by having the water sit and get really hot in these black pipes. So you run through that water and you run out of hot water, but there's a good bit of hot water in there. Lovely moss. You throw that up on those roofs with the carpet tacked on them, and like that one right there, and the moss balls just kind of grow into that roof and stay put. It's a super light living roof. These rhododendrons are lovely, and they make it feel like rooms back in here. So when they have lots of people here, you get a little tent space back in here, and it's like your own little world. See, like those guys over there, they got their own little world. So I'll be quiet. But yeah, it's like a nice private space, and it just feels like people are far away. And then you come out, you be part of things, and there's sunshine in the garden. These are some of those hog panels she was talking about. These super thick wires can be kind of hard to cob through, especially if you're using long straw. Long straw is strongest, but that would really be a pain with these hog panels. It's interesting. The hog panels are what the engineers have come up with to make cob acceptable to building code in areas that have earthquakes, and makes it a real pain in the butt to try to build with earth that way. And you saw where it causes some issues, but when you're dealing with the industrial world, that's cheaper and easier than hiring an engineer sometimes. It's another one of those lovely spaces in the woods. Just so comfy. I might have to sleep in one of these woods spaces. Look, this feels like it goes back forever. And it does kind of go back forever. Wraps around into a new space I didn't see when I was here last. Oh, look at that great dome. This feels like their own private world. This is getting to be a pretty long video because Tammy's place is just so cool. Oh, look. Blackberries. Oh, this is a fantastic shower house. So inside of here, this luscious finish. All right, they're doing some more on it. This is called Tadillac. It's a polished lime surface. It's actually waterproof. There's an oil soap that they put into it and polish it with little stones, like bigger stones than those, but smooth like that. And just problem is, in order to not get cracks where you end and start for the day, you got to get like a lot of people working on this because it has to get polished as it cures. And nice skylight. And so basically they had to cram like 20 people in here, like right next to each other, all taking their little spot and polishing with their stone. It's pretty labor intensive, but like this is a normal lime finish, and even that smooth one is pretty rough compared to the Tadillac. It just feels really good. Don't get me wrong, I like Cobb better, but when you're building a bathhouse, Tadillac has its benefits. Here's more of these lovely spaces back here. It's like, here, come have your own space. It's your own little world. Looks like some people growing their mushrooms back here. Shiitake or oyster mushrooms back in there. Those logs. Works really well. I love the moss on these trees. Man, if I was staying here for more than just one night, I set up my tent back here. Have my own little world. These are great when you can find these windows for cheap or free. Sometimes they're annoying. They've got a haze between them. But if you can peel them apart and clean them, put them back together with a desiccant in there to absorb the extra moisture and give them another life. I'll show you here what they do with them. This is these lovely twin cabins. The bottle work in these cabins, a little bit of glass bottle, stained glass. And see, like the place we went, Cobb Cottage earlier, having these big glass windows, let some sunshine in, make it feel bigger inside. These either twins or conjoined. It's one building technically until some building inspector says it's too big, and then they'll cut them in half and make it two buildings. That was the plan, but nobody's bothered them yet, so they just kind of let it be. There's some lovely, lovely lime painting inside of there. That right there that looks like tacky upholstery is actually beautiful lime painting of flowers and dragonflies and whatnot. Tammy's one of those people who collects strays like us and just finds a place for everybody. Here you go. It's one of those secret spaces. Like, look, I have my own little place to live right by a cool tree and a Cobb building that's still in progress. That one's fun. It's got some stuff stored in it, so it's hard to tell, but there's these great whimsical features to it. Like the bed. The bed is made out of an old Volkswagen Beetle. It's not just stored in here, it's part of the building. Nice tall ceiling, so you can use it as put a loft in there, use it as a workshop. This is fun. This one's called the Kraken. Oh look, you can see all of this stuff growing in the Volkswagen. The chicks and hens really like that. Little Cobb wall. This building's called the Kraken because it's got this great crack in here. Nautical theme. Woohoo, dinner. But I gotta show people the Kraken first. This enormous Kraken sculpture. Good fun. Good fun. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this tour of Tammy's place in Oregon here on the coast. Maybe you'll check her out. I'll put her website up. The Kraken here. It used to be this single wide trailer, but it grew and grew, and now it has straw clay walls and a cob finish over here, like a porch. This is one of the great new things here, as a playground for the kids, and everybody kind of centers around it. It's not as far away as it appears.
Places to stay would be donkeys. Kirk will have space there.
Oh, there's an Ernie Wisner in here.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, best kind of a thing.
He's in Puerto Rico.
It's a straw clay walls. Some of this lovely painting. It's kind of a bathhouse here in the back. Gotta find the light switch in here. There we go. This is fun. When you flush the toilet, you get water coming through, the clean water comes to fill the toilet tank through this bowl, through this little spigot to wash your hands, and then goes in to fill the tank for the next flush. They don't have one in there, but lovely rough milled wood here. There should be a sign like this everywhere. Keep shared space clean. Have a lovely day. UncleMud.com